You ever notice how we're always waiting for someone to understand us, waiting for someone to help us, waiting for someone to notice how hard we're trying? We tell ourselves, when they support me, I'll start. When they believe in me, I'll feel confident. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. It's not because people are cruel or heartless. It's because everyone's fighting their own battles, carrying their own fears, chasing their own peace. And while you're sitting there waiting for someone to show up for you, the world keeps moving. Time doesn't stop. Life doesn't pause for your permission or for someone else's encouragement. We've been conditioned to depend, to believe that success, love, or validation must come from outside of us. We've built our lives around the idea that someone else will open the door, someone else will give us the green light, someone else will make it easier. But what if I told you the greatest mistake you can make is thinking you need anyone to begin? Because the truth is, no one owes you anything. Not their help, not their approval, not their energy. And that's not something to be bitter about. That's something to be grateful for. Because once you understand that no one's coming, you finally realize you are enough to begin. You stop waiting, you stop asking, you stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your journey. That's when real strength begins. Not when someone saves you, but when you save yourself. And when you finally do that, when you stop depending on others for your confidence, your validation, your direction, you become unstoppable. Because now no one can take from you what they never gave you. So before you spend another minute waiting for someone to believe in you, ask yourself this. What if today is the day you start believing in yourself and you never look back? We grow up believing that depending on others is normal, that people will always be there to guide us, support us, and tell us what to do next. And for a while, it feels comforting. It feels safe to lean on someone else. But over time, that comfort becomes a trap. You start to forget how strong you really are. You stop trusting yourself. You begin to think that without their approval, you're not enough. That's the illusion of dependence. It gives you the feeling of safety, but it slowly steals your power. Every time you wait for someone to validate your choices, you hand them control over your life. You start to make decisions based on what others might think instead of what you truly want. You silence your voice because you fear disapproval. You hesitate to take risks because no one gave you the green light. And before you realize it, your dreams start gathering dust. You end up living someone else's version of your life while your own potential fades quietly in the background. Depending on others weakens your spirit. It keeps you in a constant state of expectation, waiting for a call, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to believe in you before you believe in yourself. But here's the truth. No one can walk your path for you. No one can see the fire burning in your heart the way you do. People may care, they may want to help, but they will never feel the urgency that you feel for your own destiny. That's why depending on others will always leave you disappointed, because you're asking someone else to carry a vision they were never meant to see. The moment you stop waiting for others to lift you, you discover something powerful. You were never meant to be carried. You were meant to stand. You were meant to rise. You were meant to build your own strength so that when life tests you, you don't break, you bend, you adapt, and you keep going. That's what freedom truly is, knowing that your power doesn't come from others. It comes from within. Every time you wait for someone else to move first, you lose a piece of your momentum. You tell yourself it's just a pause, that you're being patient, that the timing isn't right. But deep down, you know what's really happening. You're stalling because you're afraid to stand on your own. You're waiting for a sign, for validation, for someone to say, go ahead, it's your turn. And while you wait, your opportunities quietly slip away. The people who took action, even imperfectly, are moving forward, while you're still convincing yourself it's not the right moment. Dependence is a thief dressed as comfort. It makes you feel secure while it quietly steals your time, your confidence, and your growth. You keep thinking that once the right person supports you, once you get that encouragement, you'll finally take the leap. But the truth is, if you need someone else to push you, You'll always depend on a push. You'll never learn how to drive your own momentum. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from doing what scares you, especially when no one's clapping. The cost of waiting is far greater than the fear of failure. Every time you postpone action because someone hasn't believed in you yet, you teach your mind that your power is conditional, that it only works when others activate it. But that's a lie. The moment you decide to stop waiting, you reclaim control. You start creating instead of expecting. You start moving instead of hesitating. Life rewards motion, not hesitation. You can spend years waiting for perfect conditions that will never exist. Or you can start now and grow through the imperfection. The people you admire, the ones who built something real, they didn't wait for support, they acted. And that's the difference. They were willing to look foolish, to fail, to start small, but they moved. And that's what separates those who grow from those who just dream. One keeps waiting, and the other keeps walking. At some point, you have to stop looking outward for strength and start building it within. Because the truth is, no one can carry you forever. People can encourage you, they can motivate you, but they can't keep you standing when life knocks you down. That's something you have to learn to do on your own. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't come from being surrounded by people who cheer you on. It comes from those quiet moments when you're alone, uncertain, and you still choose to keep going. Becoming your own support system means learning how to be there for yourself when no one else is. It's about developing the mental toughness to comfort yourself when things fall apart, to speak life into yourself when your confidence fades, and to remind yourself of your worth when the world makes you doubt it. You can't build strength if you're always running to someone else to fix what's broken inside you. You have to become your own foundation, solid, steady, and unshakable. You do that by cultivating discipline, not motivation. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. You do it by keeping promises to yourself, waking up when you said you would, finishing what you started, refusing to give up just because it's hard. Each time you follow through, you teach your mind that you can depend on you. That's how trust is built, not through words, but through consistent action. When you learn to rely on yourself, the world changes. You stop chasing validation, you stop begging for attention, and you stop settling for half-hearted energy from others. You become whole within yourself. You begin to understand that peace doesn't come from who stands beside you. It comes from who you become when you stand alone. And when you reach that point, nothing can shake you, because you no longer need anyone to hold you up. You've learned how to hold yourself. Accountability is one of the hardest things to face because it demands honesty. It requires you to stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. It's much easier to blame your parents, your past, your boss, your circumstances, or the people who didn't believe in you. But the moment you blame, you surrender your power. You hand over control to everything outside of you. And as long as you do that, you'll always feel stuck, because you've convinced yourself that your life depends on what others did or didn't do for you. Owning your life means accepting that no one is responsible for your progress, but you. No one owes you success, peace, or happiness. It's not the world's job to make you feel fulfilled. That's your responsibility. Accountability isn't about guilt or shame. It's about freedom. When you take ownership, you realize that if you created your current situation, you can create something better. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as the author of your own story. Taking responsibility for your choices, even the wrong ones, builds strength. Because every mistake becomes a lesson, every failure becomes a tool, and every setback becomes an opportunity to grow. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And that's where your power lives, in your response. And the choice to rise above, to adapt, to rebuild. The moment you stop saying, "They didn't help me," and start saying, "I'll figure it out," your life changes. Because now you're in charge. You stop waiting for apologies, permission, or recognition. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. That's when life begins to bend in your favor. When you stop running from responsibility and start running toward it. Accountability doesn't limit you. It liberates you. It gives you back the control you thought you lost. And once you have that, you become unstoppable. There's a peace that comes from knowing you can depend on yourself. A quiet, unshakable confidence that doesn't need to be announced. When you become self-reliant, you stop fearing loss, rejection, or abandonment, because your foundation no longer rests on anyone else. You understand that people can walk away, circumstances can change, and life can shift, but you'll still stand. That's the reward of independence. The freedom to move through life without fear of being left behind. Being self-reliant doesn't mean you isolate yourself or reject help. It means you choose to be whole before you connect with others. You don't seek people to complete you. You meet them as someone already complete. That's what makes your presence powerful. You bring strength, not neediness. When you live from that place, your relationships, your career, and your decisions all shift. You stop attaching yourself to people out of fear and start connecting from a place of choice. Self-reliance gives you control over your peace. You no longer panic when things don't go your way because you trust your ability to adapt. You don't crumble when people disappoint you because you never built your worth on their approval. You learn to enjoy your own company, to make decisions that align with your values, and to keep moving even when no one's watching. That's when you realize that independence isn't loneliness, it's strength. The reward of living as an independent force is that you become unshakable. The opinions of others lose their grip. Rejection no longer defines you. Failure doesn't destroy you. You become grounded in your own identity, fueled by your own vision, guided by your own values. And the best part, when you no longer need anything from anyone, you attract everything that's meant for you. Because strength, confidence, and peace are magnetic. When you master self-reliance, you stop chasing, and everything starts coming to you. At the end of the day, the truth is simple. No one is coming to build your life for you. No one is coming to hand you strength, discipline, or confidence. Those things can't be given. They must be earned. You can spend your life waiting for people to see your worth, to recognize your potential, or to lift you up. Or you can decide that today is the day you rise on your own. The people who win in life aren't the ones who had constant support. They're the ones who kept going when no one showed up. They built themselves from the ground up. They learned to rely on their own voice when the world went silent. They stopped asking for help from people who didn't care to understand and instead helped themselves. That's what separates those who live with purpose from those who live with excuses. You don't need to wait for a sign, a savior, or approval. You are the sign. You are the one who gets to decide when it's time to begin. And that time is now. The strength you're searching for is already inside you. Every challenge, every setback, every disappointment has been shaping you for this moment. It's time to stop depending on others to believe in your vision and start acting like you were chosen to fulfill it. So stand tall, move forward, build your own path, even if you have to walk it alone for a while. Because the day you stop depending on others is the day you truly become powerful. Independence is not just a mindset, it's a declaration. I am enough. I can stand. I can rise. And once you understand that, nothing and no one can stop you again.